This is an art collage novel video. I made this series so you guys can experience the story faster. The video will focus on the character's psychology, the images are for illustration purposes only. Tiandijuan looked at him coldly and snorted, the entire sect has this kind of thing. Back then, someone spied on the treasure and created a large number of fake maps. I'm afraid even Zhang Linghua can't tell the difference. Yes. However, there's a high possibility that this map is real, Peiyang agreed. Otherwise, the Big Dipper sect would have been exterminated by the Thunder Wind Chamber of Commerce hundreds of years ago. They must have dug out the treasure. Tiandijuan fell into silence. He seemed to be thinking about something, and then he murmured, several hundred years ago, my master was only a disciple of the sect. I've heard of this secret before, it's very unreliable. He took the leather from Peiyang's hands and touched it with his thumb. His expression immediately changed, and a sharp light shot out of his eyes. Tiandijuan rubbed the leather in his hands a few times. A wisp of misty air came out from his fingertips, and when it touched the leather, it dispersed, leaving only a shallow mark. His face finally revealed a serious expression as he stared at the map and said, "This is the skin of a ninth-order monster beast." Peiyang and Gao Yuan were both overjoyed. Peiyang hurriedly said, "My lord, please be wise. We've studied the material of this map for a long time, but we can't determine its level." Darren saw it at a glance, as expected of a martial-honored level existence. He immediately felt good about himself after his flattery, and he felt that his status had risen a lot. Without the strength of a martial supreme or the body of a rank 9 demonic beast, there is no way to resist my mist. You will die upon contact. Tiandijuan snorted. Although he showed his disdain, he still enjoyed the flattery. But as soon as he finished, his eyes fell on Yunxiao, who was standing next to him. His face blushed slightly as he said angrily, "Only God knows how you cultivate, you little brat." "Since this map is made of the skin of a 9th-tier demon beast," Yunxiao said with an embarrassed smile, "it's very likely to be real." Tiandijuan also started to pay attention to it, but he didn't look at the pattern on the map. He just kept rubbing it as if he was addicted to it. The three of them didn't make a sound, knowing that there must be a situation. Tiandijuan touched it for a while. "I heard from my master that he's not sure if the treasure still exists, but it's most likely gone. The map is written on a piece of titanium paper. Titanium platinum paper is as thin as a hair and as light as nothing," Yunxiao said. "But it can withstand the burning fire without melting. If it's hidden inside, we can use fire to burn the leather." "That's right." Tiandijuan nodded and said, "You are indeed a great alchemist." He grabbed the leather in his hand and immediately condensed a ball of flame, roasting it in his palm. The leather remained unmoved in the flames, and after the time it took to brew a cup of tea, it was completely unscathed. Tiandijuan's face changed, and he said in horror, What's going on?" He took out the leather and turned it over for a closer look, but he did not find any traces of forging, not even a mark was left. Although he was not a master of the fire element condensed by the power of a martial supreme was not ordinary. This leather was actually so fire-resistant. "It's more likely that there's titanium platinum in it," Yunxiao said. "This map must be made of the skin of a 9th-tier fire-type demon beast. Let me try." Tiandijuan was displeased. He snorted and said, "Do you think you're better than me?" With a wry smile, Yunxiao touched the bridge of his nose and said, "I'm an alchemist, and I have a strange fire in my hand." Tiandijuan was skeptical, but he still handed the map to Yunxiao. Yunxiao unfolded the map and gently touched it with his hand. It was indeed the skin of a 9th-tier fire-type demon beast, and he could even feel the gentle fluctuation of fire element on it. The immemorial heaven's eye in the heart of his brows opened and condensed a ball of phoenix illusory fire, burning the map. If he was too strong, he was afraid that he would burn the titanium and platinum. Therefore, he only dared to test it with ethereal fire. As soon as the map touched the ethereal fire, it immediately burned and began to curl up. Tiandijuan was frightened. His eyes were wide open, and he felt that what was happening in front of him was unreal. No matter what, he had the strength of a martial honor. The leather that couldn't be burned in the slightest was actually burned to nothing in his hands. The difference was too big. He had expected that even if Yunxiao had an alien flame, it would take him at least several hours to cook something, but he did not expect that in just a breath or an instant, the beast skin of a 9th-tier fire-type demon beast would be completely turned into ashes. The only explanation was that the strange fire on this kid's body was really too overbearing, too abnormal. Who is this kid? Looking at Yunxiao's calm face, Tiandijuan did not feel any fear. It's out. Pingyi suddenly let out a loud cry as he looked joyfully at the flames. Sure enough, after the beast's skin was burned, a dazzling piece of paper appeared, shimmering with golden light in the flames. Yunxiao was overjoyed as well. He hurriedly put out the flame and reached out to grab it. Humph. Tiandijuan snorted and grabbed the titanium paper. Si, the sound of roasting meat came from his hand, followed by a scream. He hurriedly threw the titanium paper away, his eyes filled with horror. Suddenly, he found that his palm was charred black. Although his injuries weren't very serious, the heat wave had penetrated his defensive power and burned his skin. I forgot to tell you, Yunxiao chuckled. You can't touch the metal that has been burned. He calmly grabbed the titanium paper that Tiandijuan had thrown away, but nothing happened to it. The titanium paper flickered with light, and a few lines appeared. It was a map that was completely different from the one on the animal skin. Let me see. Tiandijuan had learned his lesson this time. He poured his vital qi into his palm and then took it. He looked down and said in surprise, how could it be here? Pingyi and Shangguan Yuan also moved closer. After looking around for a while, they didn't understand what was going on. They didn't know much about the terrain of this mountain range. Where is this? Yunxiao asked. He could see that Tiandijuan's face was a little serious. Tiandijuan looked at the map for a while and said, you should know that Southfire City's greatest resource is the Li Fire Golden Crystal. There are hundreds of mines of all sizes around it, with countless major forces mixed in. However, there's a dangerous place to the east that's also rich in Li Fire Golden Crystal, but no one dares to mine it. That place has become a dead land. Death? Are you saying that the treasure recorded on this map is in this land of death? Yunxiao asked. Tiandijuan suddenly laughed and said, not only in a dead end. In addition, I'm afraid that I'm the only one who knows about this place. I can tell from this map that it's the layout of that place, but even if I know it's a dead land, I might not be able to find it, he said proudly. This is because when I was young, I chanced upon a piece of Li Fire Golden Source in this place, so I have a deep impression of it. The Li Fire Golden Source is a supreme treasure produced by the condensation and collapse of a large number of Li Fire Golden Crystals, Yunxiao said. Although it is not as precious as the elemental source, it is still a rare treasure with extremely high value. Tiandijuan looked regretful and resentful. He cursed, back then, a 7th-tier alchemist traded this Li Fire Golden Source for 3 7th-tier medicinal pills. It's a pity that I'm young and insensible. I thought I'd gained a big advantage, but now it seems that it's simply a deal that makes people vomit blood. If I see that alchemist again, I'll kill him. He said viciously. You're stupid, Yunxiao laughed. How can you blame others? Even if that thing was exchanged for 3 9th-tier medicinal pills, it wouldn't be too much. Since we know the location, let's not delay any further and go now. Tiandijuan's face changed. He put away the map and said, we can't rush it. It's not easy to go to a dead end. Only those who have been there know the dangers. Besides, it's the time for the sect tournament. I must expose Zhang Linghua's true colors in front of all the forces and kill him with my own hands. What did he do to make you hate him so much? Yunxiao asked curiously. What did he do to make you hate him so much? I heard from this little fatty that you two weren't fellow disciples in the past? Tiandijuan's face turned ugly. He gritted his teeth and said, bah. That bastard had killed his master and seized the sect master's position. I was originally the sect master of the Big Dipper sect, but this bastard killed my master and seriously injured me for a 9th-tier medicinal pill. If I wasn't stronger than him at that time, I would have died from his sneak attack. It's the heavens who didn't let me die, they gave me the chance to take revenge. I see. Yes. Yunxiao nodded and said, there are hundreds of such vendetta cases in the entire heavenly martial realm every day, and I can't be bothered to care about it. Give me the map, in case you lose it after you die. Looking at Tandijuan's murderous eyes, Yunxiao smiled in embarrassment and said, I've only heard that Zhang Linghua has advanced to the rank of a martial supreme. Do you think it's possible for you to cross a major realm and kill him? You're obviously going to die. I don't care about that, but don't give him my map. Tandijuan snorted angrily, what martial supreme? You're just lying to outsiders. According to my investigation, he's only half a martial supreme now. With his trashy innate talent, it would be impossible for him to advance to the martial supreme realm in this lifetime. Back then, Master saw that his cultivation was limited, so he decided to pass the sect master's position to me. As for his current realm, he had also wantonly sold the sect's interests in exchange for a large number of medicinal pills. He had directly rushed up with enlightenment. His lifetime's worth of cultivation will be limited to this. I can see that you still have a lot of spies in the Big Dipper sect, Yunxiao said curiously. The man in the yellow robe is one of them, right? But even so, a half-martial supreme has mastered a part of the rule force. You should know that everyone under the rule force is an ant. What right do you have to fight him? You don't need to worry about that, Tandijuan snorted. Suddenly, a strange look appeared on his face as he stared at Yunxiao and said, I've suddenly thought of the best person to deal with Zhang Linghua. Yunxiao was taken aback by his wolf-like gaze. Don't tell me you're going to say that I'm the candidate? You want me, a martial great master, to kill a half-step to the martial emperor realm? Can you be more ridiculous? Tandijuan showed a cold smile and said, it's not nonsense at all. It's because you're a Wu Zone that no one will notice you. With your teleportation ability, you should be able to get close to him. That flame power just now would have seriously injured a half-step martial emperor if he was caught off guard. In addition to your strong physical defense, Zhang Linghua won't be able to kill you even if he goes berserk. As long as you make a move, my arrangements will be activated. You will definitely not be in danger. What a joke. Yunxiao sneered. Why would I risk my life to help you kill Zhang Linghua? Don't you need primordial stones? Tandijuan asked. As long as Yingluo. Don't mention it, Yunxiao interrupted. No matter how many primordial stones I have, it's not worth the risk. Since he was the leader of a sect, he should have a few trump cards. If you use it when your life is in danger, I might turn into ashes and I won't be able to enjoy your primeval stones. Don't mention this matter again. If Zhang Linghua was not one step away from becoming a Nine Heavens martial sovereign, he would still be willing to take the risk as long as he had enough vitality stones. No matter how powerful a martial honor was, he was still a martial honor, and Yunxiao knew better than anyone else how powerful a martial emperor was. The Emperor Qi of the Nine Heavens suppressed everything, and even his supreme overlord body couldn't resist it. Tandijuan seemed to have expected that he would refuse, but he didn't give up. He continued to encourage him, what about this treasure? When the North Scorpion sect was at its peak, it was even more powerful than the 7 superpowers of today. Didn't you say that the treasure is empty? Yunxiao sneered. If there was really such a fortune, how could you be so calm now? Who are you trying to fool? Tandijuan was stunned, and he had a strange expression on his face. He didn't expect the other party to be so cautious and stubborn. He forced a smile and said, that's because no real treasure map has ever appeared. But it's different now, that titanium paper is definitely real. No one knows what kind of treasure is inside. Maybe it'll be empty, but maybe it'll shock the world. Do you think you can take a gamble? I can bet on it, Yunxiao said after a slight hesitation. But I've never let go of my eagle until I see the rabbit. I'll take care of the treasure map. Also, after we're done, regardless of whether the treasure is real or fake, you must give me 100 million superior-grade primordial stones. Not only Tandijuan, but even Pingyi and Shangguan Yuan gasped in shock. 100 million superior-grade primordial stones, Tiandijuan was shocked and angry. Did I hear it wrong, or did you say it wrong? 100 million superior-grade primordial stones for the life of a half-step martial emperor, as well as the foundation of the entire Big Dipper sect, Yunxiao said slowly. Do you think it's a high price? Bullshit. Tiandijuan was furious. I only asked you to make the first move. Do you think you can take Zhang Linghua's life with one strike? You still need my backup. I can give you 100 million mid-grade origin stones at most. Yunxiao was amused. He found that he had fallen in love with bargaining. Then you can keep this 100 million medial-grade primordial stones for yourself. I think if you sell the news of your assassination to Zhang Linghua, it should be more than this. You coward. Tiandijuan's face suddenly changed. His body was filled with anger, and the power of his domain instantly suppressed Yunxiao. However, when he saw the other party's nonchalant expression, he was so angry that he blew his beard and glared. He also understood that it was really difficult for him to keep this kid. Otherwise, he would have captured him and killed him long ago. He would not have wrangled with him for so long. 100 million superior-grade primordial stones is too much, he said helplessly. I don't think the entire Big Dipper sect's disciples have that many cultivation resources in a year. 1 billion middle grade is the most I can accept. If you sell my information to Zhang Linghua, you might not even get a single primeval stone, and you might even get yourself killed. Although I can't trap you, I'm afraid it'll be hard for you to escape from a half-step martial emperor. Yunxiao laughed. That's too little. The Big Dipper sect owns at least 10% of the resources in Manhwa City. You have the nerve to sell 1 billion medial-grade primordial stones? If you can't give me 5 billion, I'd rather risk my life and try Zhang Linghua. I'd like to see how strong a half-step martial emperor is. Tiandijuan was so angry that smoke rose from his head. He gritted his teeth and said, all right, 5 billion. However, a dark glint flashed in his eyes. His eyes were gray, and one could not tell what he was thinking. In the haze, there was a little bit of killing intent. By his estimation, even if Zhang Linghua's counterattack could not kill this kid, it would at least be able to severely injure him. He did not mind finishing off this arrogant kid who did not know the immensity of heaven and earth before killing Zhang Linghua. Now you have the spirit of a sect leader. With a smile on his face, Yunxiao reached out to ask for the treasure map. Tiandijuan snorted coldly, and the haze in his eyes dissipated. Then, he threw the map to Yunxiao without hesitation. It seemed that the possibility of the so-called treasure existing was indeed very low. Otherwise, as the disciple of the previous sect master, Tiandijuan should have attached great importance to it. Tomorrow's Big Dipper sect's top 10 competition will be the most lively time, Tiandijuan said. When the top 10 competition is over and Zhang Linghua is giving out the award, it'll be your turn. I've already made all the follow-up preparations, and I've already roped in 6 of the Big Dipper sect's 10 great elders, all of whom are shameless and hate Zhang Linghua's character. You only need to use that flame to attack Zhang Linghua, and regardless of whether you succeed or fail, immediately retreat after the attack. Otherwise, I can't guarantee your safety. He put on a face that seemed to be concerned about Yunxiao's comfort and said, if I'm not wrong, that flame power of yours is also controlled by soul power. If you use it as an attack, I'm afraid you won't be able to teleport away immediately, right? Yunxiao put on a pitiful look and said, that's right, I hope that Sir Tan can bestow upon me an 8th grade armor to protect myself. This, cough cough. Tiandijuan coughed a few times and said, I don't have that thing either, so you have to be careful. Without waiting for Yunxiao's answer, he immediately changed the subject and said, there's still one day before the competition of the top 10 tomorrow. You guys can stay here and cultivate. I'll go and arrange some more methods. The person who contacted me was killed by you with one palm, he said to Yunxiao, grumbling. I have to do it myself. As if he was afraid that Yunxiao would ask him for something, he turned into a cloud of mist and disappeared. As soon as Tiandijuan left, Pingyi and Shangguan Yuan instantly felt the pressure disappear. They let out a heavy breath, feeling even more nervous. Pingyi gave Yunxiao a strange look, then pulled his face open and said with a smile, what's this little brother's name? You were the one who sent us out of the courtyard earlier, right? My surname is Li, Yunxiao said with a smile. You can just call me young Master Yun. Under those circumstances, only the two of you were able to turn the situation around. You won't have any complaints about me, right? Young Master Yun, you must be joking. Pingyi suppressed the urge to kill Yunxiao with a palm strike and said generously, even if young Master Yun didn't teleport us, we would still have to step forward in that situation. Even Tandijun could not do anything to Yunxiao, so Pingyi naturally knew that he could do nothing about it. Besides, if he killed Yunxiao and ruined Tandijun's plan, they would probably be struck to death as soon as possible. So, he could only swallow the hatred. Although he had a myriad of thoughts in his mind, his face remained serious. As the saying goes, where the Tao is, I will move forward even if there are thousands of people. Even if I die 9 times, I will have no regrets. He turned to look at Sheng Yuan and said, don't you agree? Thought. Sheng Yuan's face had always been cold, but this time, she could not help but blush shyly. She stammered and turned her head away, pretending not to know him. Yunxiao felt that he had underestimated the layer of fat on this round face. It was thicker than he had imagined. We're all working for Sir Tan now, Pingyi laughed. We're family. If you need any help in the future, just let me know. Yes, Yunxiao nodded. In that case, I won't be polite. I'm currently lacking some primeval stones. Brothers and sisters, please help me out. Pingyi took out 100 mid-grade primordial stones from his ring and smiled. Take it, don't be polite. What's big brother's is yours. Yunxiao nodded and said, then I won't be polite. He silently took the primordial stones from Pingyi and put them away. Suddenly, a ring appeared in his palm, and it trembled as it lay there. Pingyi's expression changed. He was shocked to find that his storage ring had been taken away without anyone knowing. He cried out, young Master Yun, this is my Chanxian. Yunxiao turned around and said with a smile, what's big brother's is also mine. I won't be polite. Bang. Under the impact of his powerful soul power, the storage ring in his hand broke through the restriction. A space of meson appeared, but it shrank rapidly in the blink of an eye and was about to disappear. Yunxiao reached out his hand at an extremely fast speed, and everything was pulled into his palm, then disappeared in a flash. The space only existed for a few breaths before it completely disappeared, leaving behind a broken ring which he casually threw into the grass. This buy-in. Pingyi was dumbfounded and hurriedly said, young Master Yun, no matter what, you should leave some for brother. If you take everything off, how will big brother cultivate in the future? Yunxiao frowned slightly as he flipped his right palm, and a palm-sized jade figure appeared in his hand. His pupils constricted as he asked, what is this? This jade figure was found in Pingyi's ring. Other than its material, its size and shape were exactly the same as the one he had found in Liangquan's netherstone.